Hi guys, my name is Safi Sprocket and today we're going to be talking about one of my favourite topics, and that's how to keep things charged on the road. Wait, no, stop. No. Light switch. No, help me down, no. Oh no, go down. Welcome back Sprocketeers to another episode of Safi Sprocket, and in this video I'm going to show you how I keep my gadgets charged whilst on the go. Now this is important mainly if you rely on things like your phone or even other devices like your SLR, your headset, action cameras, and well, I've even been known to take the odd tablet or laptop when doing a multi-day tour. And that's why I want to show you today how I managed to prepare everything to go on the road and also ensure that everything stays charged while traveling. You guys get to suffer through it today, so we're gonna get a little bit nerdy. So stay tuned and I'll show you how it's done. But first, a word from this week's sponsor. FlexiSpot is a UK company that designs and produces smart desks that enable you to charge and organise your biking accessories in a more productive way before hitting the open road. Now, sitting on a motorcycle for hours on end can create issues like the shortening of your IT bands, ultimately ending up with nerve pain in your legs and your feet. However, switching to a stand-up smart desk for just an hour a day can help prevent issues like biking-induced IT band tightness, which I genuinely personally suffer with. Now, not only is it comfortable, but it's also great for your health. And so if you're looking for a better way to work, then make sure to check out the link in the description and check out FlexiSpot today. I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to running a YouTube channel on the road, a lot of technology is involved, and I mean an absolute bucket load of tech. Keeping it all charged and organised is an absolute nightmare. Not only is the vast majority of my luggage taken up with gadgets, but also there's the whole surrounding hardware and cables that I need to keep it charged at all times. Now, I've spent a fair amount of money on gadgets over the last 2 years to get where I am today. However, I do want to point out that I did not buy everything that I use today in one go, because ultimately I couldn't afford to do that. But what I did do was buy bits and pieces after each trip. And ultimately, that's what I recommend that you guys do too. You shouldn't be buying everything in one go. The trick is to create a setup and to focus on one single issue at a time between each and every trip, and just upgrade bits and pieces when you can afford to. Now, I will drop some affiliate links in the description below, so if you do want to check out and buy any of the gadgets that I personally use, it's all readily available for you. Okay, let's talk about how I keep my gadgets on the road. So item number 1 are my Anker battery packs. These are Anker chargers. They have 20,000 milliamps of charge in them. And I'm gonna be completely honest, these are not the cheapest chargers online. They're also not the most expensive. They're kind of like a mid-range charger. Now, I own 4 of these. I currently only have 2 because I lent 2 out for friends. One needed to go to hospital and she just I wanted to make sure she had blah blah. Anyway, so I currently only got 2 for the video, but I do own 4 when I do eventually recover the other ones back from friends. Now, word of caution about the Anker battery packs. These are always periodically on sale. So if you look to buy one of these and they're not on sale, wait like 2-3 weeks. I promise you they will be on sale. Now, these are really good because they have 2 USB outputs and they give 10 hours of charge time at a time. So they charge fairly quickly. So if your phone is dead, it will, honestly, it'll just blast through it. On the road, I can charge 8 devices at once with all 4 battery packs. And if you're going away for a weekend and not carrying that much tech, honestly, one of these batteries is more than enough. This hefty bad boy battery, this is radically different from my Anker chargers, not just in terms of size. As you can see, there is quite a difference. But the reason I like this particular battery for traveling is because unlike my Anker battery, with this bad boy, we have a 12 volt in charger and also a 12 volt out and also a 9 volt out, in addition to a single USB port. The reason that this is amazing is because I have heated gear, which plugs directly into my motorcycle. And so when my motorcycle's not running, it ain't heating. This is ace. It will literally run all night. When I was camping in the snow, I slept in my heated jacket plugged into this. As you can see, that's it on. And I was nice and roasty toasty till 6 AM. So item number 2, which is my 2-port USB mounted handlebar charger. I picked this up for like £6 on eBay. Everyone told me it was a ton of trash and I shouldn't waste my money. 2.5 years later, it'd still be going strong, so showed you guys wrong, didn't I? The great thing about my handlebar charger, if you guys don't have a USB port on your bike, seriously, just go do it. Like, even the cheap ones are ace. I've never had any problems with mine. But the good thing about it is that basically I always have my phone mounted on my handlebars for my sat nav. I can run a shorter cable to my phone, and then I have a longer cable wrapped around the mirrors of my bike. I know it drives a lot of you absolutely nuts when you see this long cable, but the reason that I keep it there is because I use it to rotate between charging devices. So if my headset or my GoPro, which are always like helmet mounted, if they're not at 100%, I can just take this cable out and plug it straight in, you know, whilst I'm on the road. And if everything's at 100%, at this point, what I'll do is I always have a side pouch on my leg. I'll put in the lowest battery pack. Now, in the luggage of my bike, I'll pop these battery packs in, and I'll constantly be rotating battery packs and gadgets that I only use periodically to ensure that everything is constantly topped up with power. For example, if all the battery packs are fully charged and my drone isn't, I'll just leave my drone plugged into one of the battery packs. I might even leave some of the SLR camera batteries plugged in as well. And you know, I'll constantly keep trying to rotate the battery packs as well to keep those topped up and basically indirectly funnel electricity from my bike to all the gadgets. And you know, you guys always wonder how I managed to screw up my bike batteries. Well, this way. Because naturally I'm traveling on the road, I will always use more electricity than I can physically generate. And so although I'm constantly rotating everything, naturally everything does start to get a bit more depleted the more I travel. This is really good because it allows me to trickle charge. So it's not fast charge, it's not the best thing in the world, but it will trickle charge devices overnight, slowly, which is really good. But what's really good is that I only ever need to carry one of these to charge 4 devices. And also, if I do check into somewhere for lunch, I can just remove the plug adapter and fit an EU one. It comes with both an EU and a UK plug adapter, so you only ever need to carry one charger. Now, if you have any wits about you, you're probably sat there at home going, but Saffron, what happens when you get to day 4 and you've run out of electricity and you're sat in a tent in the middle of nowhere, unable to charge 50 devices from a motorcycle battery? So I naturally have my 4-gang, 16 amp, 2 meter charging hookup cable. This is completely unnecessary unless you're a YouTuber. Basically every 3 to 4 days of wild camping, I'll check into a campsite and I'll do a complete recharge of all of my devices. The main benefit of one of these is that this is like a standardized system. So if you constantly carry one of these around, you don't have to worry about finding a EU plug adapter because you can just continue to use your regular plugs. Now, as you notice, I have 4 plugs in the charger, which means I can only plug 4 devices in at a time. Again, going back to the same principle that I use for my charging station, I will carry this around, which makes 4 more devices. So basically I will charge 4 USB devices on a slow trickle charge alongside 3 additional devices. So first things first, space to charge. You may have noticed that we have switched to my spare room. It's not as glamorous as my editing space downstairs. However, this is where I like to prepare all of my gadgets and all of my tech before hitting the open road. Now, before I eventually developed the system that I use today, previously what I used to do, which is a very cost-effective way for anyone who's broke out there, was I just write a list on a bit of paper, plug in a surge protector into a wall outlet, and just effectively have 2 plastic tubs. One which was items to be charged and one which was items that were charged. As each item is charged, I just tick it off the list and then move it from one box into the other, and eventually I do the same with my SD cards every time I wiped them. Now, my current setup in terms of getting organized for trips has become a lot more high-tech since my earlier days. I currently moved over to the FlexiDesk E7, which I like to use for home working about 2-3 hours a day. You'll notice that I also have 2 monitors plugged in, which I like to plug in a laptop. This lets me open an Excel spreadsheet, which in the same way that I used to write a list on a bit of paper, I keep it on an Excel spreadsheet that I can also access from my phone on the road. Because I migrated everything to the cloud, it means that I don't necessarily always need to turn my laptop on. I can also check things from my phone, so there's nothing stopping me just running up the stairs, quickly checking whether something's charged and just ticking it off on my phone as well. But it's still the same format. You make a list of all the gadgets that you need to keep charged on the road, and effectively you just tick them off as you go. Whether you want to rely on a bit of paper or whether you want to rely on your phone, it's the same system, just in a different format. Now, I also went on to replace the surge protector with a Unitech charging station, which is to the left of my screen. Now, this has 10 USB ports. Annoyingly, the price of this has almost doubled since I bought it. And I also had to buy a bag of USB charging cables separately. However, I have the charging station plugged into my desk socket, and I work through each and every one of the items and plug it in and just effectively leave it to charge. As I'm going along, I just tick it off on my Excel spreadsheet. So what we have is effectively a Manic charging station like this. I went a little overboard. It's not a necessity. I'm just a big nerd. And it's just, I get excited by this stuff. And this is why I ended up with the system that I do. I love it. I love that it's over the top. You don't need to do this. Again, a cheaper, cost-effective way is just to use a bit of paper and just plug things in as you go. But the fact that I have all of this set up with smart plugs and everything like that, it's all Google Home connected and automated, means I can charge things on and off whether I'm in the house or not. And I personally love that because I think it's safer, but it's not a necessity. I'm just a dork. So. And when it comes to the road, you kind of want to keep the same kind of system as you're traveling, which is you keep emptied gear that needs to be charged separate from gear that's already charged. You keep the empty SD cards away from the full SD cards. And that way you don't have to spend so much time like constantly digging through your luggage and checking things. And ultimately it's meant that I have a lot of doubles of everything. I have double SD card cases, I have double battery cases, and you want to basically minimize the amount of time you're wasting trying to find fresh batteries because you never know when they're going to run out. Now, previously, to overcome this, what I used to do was I used to use sandwich Ziploc bags for everything. And these are fantastic. And to be honest, I still use these half the time because you can write on the bags with Sharpie, like used, full, and it's really straightforward and easy to identify what's inside the bags immediately. And not only does it save you a lot of time, but it's a really cheap way to do it. You don't have to spend hundreds on fancy camera bags because sandwich bags are ace and they're waterproof, and you can just discard them and replace them and write on them in Sharpie, whatever you want to do. But like seriously, top tip there, sandwich bags, guys. And well, in conclusion, that's all there really is to it, which is effectively charging everything beforehand and then maintaining battery power at every opportunity, and also stopping every 3 to 4 days to complete a major charge when you can. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be sitting at home thinking, oh my God, that is a lot of stuff to carry around all the time. And yes, it is. It's so annoying and it's so irritating, but ultimately that's the nature of the beast. That's what you have to do when you are vlogging. That's just YouTube. And I also take some trips where I don't carry lots of stuff and I don't vlog them, and they're just completely offline, and you guys never really get to see those because obviously I'm not filming them. So I do try to find a balance. However, making videos and vlogs, this kind of stuff is pretty much a necessity, and the vast majority of it ultimately comes down to organization and experience. However, I do hope that by sharing what I do and my workflow process, it helps you guys at home understand a bit more about some of the organization that goes behind the scenes to keep those extra gadgets constantly charged up. And whether you want to become a fully fledged YouTuber, or maybe you just want to have a little bit more phone battery by the end of the weekend, I hope that you guys can take away some of the tricks that I've developed to stay online, even when I'm not online. While we're here, I just want to say a big thank you to this week's video sponsor, FlexiSpot. This desk has been an absolute life changer for me, and I know that it can do the same for you as well at home. With prices from £169, why not check a link in the description below. Now, if you do want to see more great bike content, don't forget to hit subscribe. In the meantime, ride safe, stay crazy, and I'll see you next week. My name's Safi Sprocket, signing off.